Welcome to Mwalimu Ogeke channel. Today I want to take you through this Excel sheet on how to dynamically find sum of items, sum of numbers at the last row. For instance, here you have these rows, 50 with several items here. That is column A and column B. Column B contains the amount and column A contains the item name. Now, if you add more items, maybe you're using maybe a form to fill this data here. So if you fill more data, at the end of the last data, we are supposed to have the sum for each. So how do you do it dynamically, such that if you add more, you don't there is no need of having to put more formulas or a formula again, so that it will be just doing it automatically. I want to show you that, and I'll be using VBA. So I'll go through developer like I've shown you before. So if you go to developer, you go to Visual Basic. Then I'm dealing with sheet 1. If I can have it in a module, or I have it in sheet 1. So in sheet 1 here, I can I'm dealing with the sum first of all. So I want to write, for instance, a sub procedure, sum dynamic. I can call it sum dynamic, sum dynamic. If I call it that way, remember you have to open and close the bracket for it to be a sub procedure. And therefore, how do we do it? First of all, we have to declare a variable that I'm going to use. I want to dim last row, because I'm going to use last row. I'm going to use last row. I want to dim last row as long. I want to dim last row as long. So if I dim last row as long, and then from there, I need to set now the last row. So I want to set last row. So I'll say last row. I want to say last row equals 2, because I'm now setting it is equal to the last row equals to sheet 1 dot cells. Sheet 1. Remember, we're dealing with sheet 1 here. This sheet 1. So it is sheet 1 dot cells. Sheet 1 dot cells. Sheet 1 dot cells. Dot cells, that is, it will be counting the rows. For the rows, we don't know specific rows. It will be counting rows, that is rows dot count, because we don't know the specific row where it will be adding the total. So rows dot count, and then which column we know in our case we know is we can minimize this. If you minimize this, okay, it's bringing an error here, but it's okay. I just want to minimize so that I have two screens here, so that I'm able to refer you to. Now I'm dealing with this row 2, so column 2, that is, for the rows we don't know specific, it will be counting, because it will be counting up to the last row. The last row in this case is 9, but if you had, the last row can be 26 or whichever, but in this case the last row is 9. So it will be counting last sheet dot, that is the first sheet here, sheet 1. It is rows dot count, so we have which column? Column 2. So it is column 2, that is where it will be doing the sum. That is dot up to the end, that's dot end, XL up. This is XL up, that is a VBA. Then you cross dot row, so dot row. Then we have set it to be that. And then now we write the total. Where do we want the word total to be? Because we shall be seeing word total, so we shall be seeing word total where. For instance, I want total to be here in A and the sum to be in B. So I'll write that as sheet 1. We are dealing with this sheet sheet1 dot range, sheet1 dot range. So we are dealing with A. Remember, this is A, that is column A. In quotes, for the range we use them in quotes. That is A, and so we use A and the last row. Remember, the last row will be 8. Last row, so the last row plus 1, so that it will be displaying plus 1, so that it will be displaying total in 9. If the last row is 12, then it will be displaying total in 13. So plus 1, then we'll equalize that to, all this will be equal to, that is the range A1 and last row plus 1. So it will be displaying that in equals to, so that one should be equal to the total should be in quotes. I can have it in capital letters, total, close the quote. Yes, and then from there we need to now have the sum, the formula for finding the sum. So we'll say that sheet1 dot range, sheet1 dot range. So we are still dealing with A. Remember, the range is between this A, whereby total now, this total should be equal to the function. So the total should be equal to the sum. So the total is just what we have here. All this one. Okay, I can copy from here. I just want to copy here. If I copy, I can paste it here. So this total, this will be equal to that. This one is total. This is equal to, that is the total should be equal to now the formula for the sum, which is application dot worksheet function. It should be appearing here. Dot worksheet function dot sum, because we are finding the sum. Dot sum should be appearing here. Dot sum, then sum where we are summing where. So you have to show where you are summing. Dot sum, so you give where you doing the sum. So we are doing the sum in sheet1. That is sheet 1 dot. We are doing in sheet1, this sheet1 dot range, that is dot range. So which range? Open another bracket, dot range, which range? The range is between this B, we are doing at B, so it is dynamic. You can be using F or whichever. In this case, I'm doing with B. It's at B, that's in quotes B. Let me have it in quotes B, close the quotes. We are doing in B, to where? From B to, that is to, again B. Remember, we are dealing with still B, about up to B up to B, and last row. So if you do that, and then you can see if I debug, there is no error. So if I try to run, there is a time. If I try to run this, runtime error, application not defined. So we are talking about we have done that. So run or object defined error. So there is an error that is occurring. So B to B and last row, that is correct. B to B and last row, and this one is correct, and that is okay. Sheet1 dot range, this is a last purpose. It's called the application dot worksheet function dot sum. That is open the bracket, sheet1, open another one, you close with 2. then there is no error when debugging. If we run, let's run again. The range, it is between B, this is specific, B2, it's between B2 and B. This is now correct. So if I debug, there is no error, I run. Now you see it has run, but where it was supposed to display, it was supposed to display here. That is at B and not at A. At A is supposed to be the sum. So sheet 1.range, now in this case we are supposed to talk about B, because that's where we want it to display. Yes, it should be B, because that is where we want it to display. Yeah, let us run now. Yeah, now it's working. You see, it's just the range you want to change so that it displays where you want. And then from there, I want to make this bold. And to make it bold is just if I copy this, that is sheet this. If I copy this, or this, if I copy this one, this dot font, bold, then I say equals to true. I want it to be true. So that is okay. Then I pick this one where it displays this. This is where it is displayed. So if I copy, then I paste it there. Dot font, bold, equals to true. So that one will also be bold. So if I run, you see it has made them the two to be bold. Now assume I want to make this dynamically to be in shillings, even if to be in shillings. So if I want to change the currency, I can use a code to change currency dynamically. Even if you delete, you add other data, it will be doing that dynamically. So I'll say that sheet 1, because I'm still dealing with this sheet 1. So let me copy the range for sheet 1. Sheet 1, I'll be displaying it at B, so let me use this one. If I talk about copy, sheet 1.range B, it is B and 2. Remember, it is B and 2, so here I use and 2 because I start from this 2 and 2. It is and 2, then we have a comma, then we also have up to where? Up to still B in quotes, B, that is in quotes, and it is B and up to B, let's say it is 99,999 up to that point, so still that is okay. So if it is that dot number, you talk about that dot number format. So we talk about dot number format. It is here. Dot number format equals to. It should be equal to. I want it to be in quotes so that we have. So I'll have to be a square bracket in quotes. I start with a square bracket. There is a square bracket. A square bracket. My keyboard, yes, square bracket, and then square bracket, I start with a dollar sign, that is to show, then I write like Kenyan shilling, Kenyan shillings, if I want it to appear that way, then I close this square bracket. If I close this square bracket, then I give this is remember the hash means number, so if I give a hash that means number, comma, hash, 2 of them, so I want it to be in this form, 0.002 decimal places, so I close the quotes. So if I have that, it will be displaying in shillings, in Kenyan shillings. So like, let me just debug and see, debug, combine the VPA project. If I run, you see it has changed everything to Kenyan shillings. It has changed everything to Kenyan shillings because I've done running twice. That is why it has it's not clear. I've done the running twice. It's not clear. So if I go, for instance, here, if I come to this sheet, I add, maybe I can add, maybe let me clear this one so that I add some other. I clear maybe from this point. I add more. If I add more, like I add more items.
Sukari.
I add more. I add more items.
Chumvi.
Something of the kind. So if I add, like here, I have amount like
KSH 568.00.
so it will automatically be adding.
KSH 258.00.
It will automatically be
KSH
adding.
369.00.
It will automatically be adding.
KSH 6,987.00.
You can see
KSH
it is automatically adding.
3,698.00.
It's automatically adding the items and the currency. If I talk about some other item, like talk about
Sue.
talk about
Cloth.
something of the kind.
Beans.
So if I run the code, you can see now it will be appearing at 14. It will be appearing at 14. So if I come here and run my code, if I run my code here, it will be appearing at 14. Yeah, it will be appearing here at 14. So if I run this code, now you can see what I meant. So you can see now what I meant, that if you run, it has come here. So it is dynamic. It's dynamic, and I think we have learned 2 things here on how to add the currency and how to have dynamic totals in a column. Thank you for listening to my tutorials. If you haven't subscribed, ensure you subscribe if you've liked it, and share to friends. Thank you.